Welcome everybody, and thank you for inviting me along, Bridget. We've been doing a bit of work this year with Homecare because it's really relevant to the technology-enabled care industry. My background is housing before I came to TSA. TSA predominantly used to be the industry for Telecare. You will all know that out in the home care world, and the everyday visits that you do to your clients and the people in your communities. But technology-enabled care is just the enabler. And when you look at our vision there, of people choosing technology-enabled care, the latter part of enriching life is the most important. So today I don't want you to be put off by me speaking about technology-enabled care. I want you to embrace that about how home care can start to deliver services differently and reimagine how you deliver services enabled through technology. Technology is not the focus. It's meeting the needs of all of the people in our communities. This is what Telecare used to look like. So on the right-hand side here, Telecare as you know it with monitoring, but you'll see from your sponsors today that everything's moving into digital. In our everyday lives we use digital technologies, whether that be for banking, for shopping, for work environments. We use technology, but why not in health and care? It's because we don't want to take away that face-to-face delivery of care in the communities. And I know what that's like in housing when there's no more money coming from the social care communities or health communities, and we have to cut the way we deliver services. That's wrong. What we need to do is look at that differently and embrace some of these technologies to give up a better quality of care and more efficient and more productivity to what we do. This was our brand throughout 2016, connecting care homes and communities. And that is a more broad term of using technology, not just in delivering care within housing and social care, but how can we embrace it much more in health, from the point of acute right to health and well-being. It's very difficult to think about what that could look like. And Bridget came along to the international conference 2-3 weeks ago, and she set these challenges for you as an industry. Funding, that's not just for home care, it's across everything in health and care. We hear about it every day. Billions of pounds in savings, and your local authorities are making budgets tighter, and what they're doing, they're cutting frontline services. We've already heard this morning from your chair about the retention of staff. Why is that? What does that look like? All those complex business models are really difficult, and what part do home care play in that overall business model? And that ever-growing demographic. The needs are changing in our communities. People are living longer and their needs are higher. How do we service that more differently when we deliver services? Home care providers are exiting. We've got home care providers in TSA who no longer can function because there isn't the funding there to sustain that quality care that they want to deliver. And now Bridget and her team are championing and lobbying to make sure this is more recognised and how more funding is available to this sector. But the big thing that we learned from our conference last year and from all of our members and our stakeholders is effective collaboration, and Bridget certainly echoed that in her presentation 2 weeks ago. She also said what is needed, so when embracing technology and working with technology providers and service providers through technology, we need to create new solutions, so new models of care. Now if you go, this could be a health conference today, it could be a care conference, and new models of care are mentioned all of the time. But how you do that is very rarely delivered. So I just want to talk about some of the work today, how we can support this sector. Technology must, and she was very strong about this, it must complement, enhance, but not replace personal care. I completely agree with that. Delivering services in Newcastle, that end user, that person, that carer, does not want to see a piece of technology and you remove their carer from that daily visit. Keep it simple. End users who are confused, have dementia, carers who do not use technology do not want difficult pieces of kit replacing a face-to-face person with a smile in the morning with their daily living. We've got to find solutions that gives you a different way of delivering that service but enhancing that face-to-face delivery. and make sure those solutions are joined up. I've been in the technology-enabled care industry now for 20 years, and one of our problems have always been that the technology is amazing and it's there, whether it's analogue technology or digital technology, but the joining up of information and data across the health and care economy is the difficult part and the difficult task. So Bridget, you set us some real challenges. You won't be able to see this from the back there, but this is what care looks like, new models of care. And we've been working a long time on progression of need and trying to get that back into wellness and prevention. Now you look at technology-enabled care, there may be fall detectors, there may be pill dispensers, there may be general pill codes and a sheltered scheme. But the technology we really need to embrace here is the new apps. How do you get information out to your staff? How do you use that more effectively to make this churn? So if somebody's in an episode or they're in hospital, you hear about those waiting lists. You hear how people can't discharge from hospital because we can't get effective care and that wraparound care in the community. We need to find ways of connecting this all together. This talk here about making life as good as it can be, you will recognise all those things. Personal care in the community, home and living situations, finances, health and well-being are all things that your staff, when they're going out there, will see from an individual's perspective, but also from a carer's perspective. Technology can enable some of this to be really effective and efficient in your environment. An example where technology has been embraced within social care has won our award for the last 2 years in its Hampshire City Council. They work directly with PA consultants and a provider of Telecare. Now, if you look at some of the data on there, 4.7 million savings. It always seems to be the priority because there's lack of money out there. But they've also educated all their frontline staff, the social workers, to embrace technology. But one of the biggest things that they've done is they've realised benefits across the whole system. Now, we heard from your chair and the gentleman prior to me talking about let's not think about outputs, but think about outcomes. What they've done in Hampshire is embraced a collaboration approach and certainly delivered the benefit realisation results. Our stand has more information outside about that programme. We know we need to lobby more. We know we need a message in government because we talk about nationally making these deficits but using digital technologies. But never does the funding come the same way. Never does the funding hit our sector to go, this is how you realise some of those benefits and deliver. So Paul Burstow, the ex-care minister, is actually putting into practice what he said in Parliament. He was really keen about how we could transform health and care and how we could use really creative technologies and wraparound models of care to do that and achieve that. He's been working for the last 18 months with us and we're delighted to have him. We've created narratives and marketing messages and lobbying campaigns to actually get into government and show them the models that actually can make those differences, just like Hampshire have. Earlier this year, we started to work on a think tank, and it was about commissioning and procurement, but it was looking at those new models of care, and we presented the white paper at conference. You can actually go to the stand and have a look at this. UKHK were actually at the think tank to bring a home care perspective to that. There were social care commissioners, CCGs, GPs, housing commissioners, but also Deloitte and other people, governments there. And the paper, some of the things that come out of that was having the vision and actually looking at the offer. But the biggest thing about it is, just like Albert says, is if we keep insanity is about doing the same thing. And we know we like doing the same thing, it's comfortable. But if we really want to make a difference, we have to think differently and actually look for those new models of care. We're going to create an offer right from out of hospital with your CCGs, right through to that home care model in the prevention agenda before you need to go into social care, before you need other services. So the model of care will be built, the offer will be designed, and we'll do true benefit realisation tools coming out of that, and that will happen in early 2017. And I'm hoping that Bridget and her team will support this overall offer of care and support it with your members. And what are the next steps? Well, to be able to achieve all of this work, we create a digital leaders network. We want to see individuals from the home care agencies coming into that digital network and help shape the whole offer, not just the health and care offer. Quality is a really, really tangible part of delivering technology in the home, and standards and care and safety is paramount. We've had a code of practice now for 21 years for some of the providers in the community, but we need to get this approved and endorsement. This work will be carried out. And then you look at technology. How many of you got connectivity in here? How many, like in Wales and other parts of England where there's no connectivity? How can we go into the digital world if the government don't invest in improving the connectivity in our communities and making sure at the right time, at the time you need it, digital technologies do not fail on you? So this work will also be done, and the lobbying with Ofcom and others in government to invest in these pieces of work. So this is us in our membership. 350 organisations serving 1.7 million service users in their communities. We talk about the code of practice, education. We've got an education partner, and we've just acquired a procurement and commissioning partner to look at procurement and get effective, different solutions for procuring technology. Like I said about the standards, delivering outcomes is something difficult. In our current code of practice, we needed to look at outcomes. This is our new tech framework, and for you delivering CQC services out there, we'll see the alignment. We're working really closely with CQC because there's a big gap. There's non-regulated services where people die because technology is installed incorrectly. So we have got this framework looking at not just measuring the safety of a service user, but also the quality. And that makes sure that what you get from this framework will be true outcomes to deliver to your commissioner or to your own service users. These are some of the key elements in there, but I'm not going to go into them. This is on the standout side, but it's about, user expectation, continuous improvement, driving the evolution of how we deliver effective services through technology. Just let's go back to reimagining home care, creating solutions. Putting people first, making sure that whatever we do when we reimagine these home care solutions, that you put the person first in that home and their carer, then you apply the new models of care around that. It's going to take some large, really strong leadership, but that's not leadership from Bridget and government. Of course, this is what the Home Care Agency do for you annually, every year, with all the papers that they write, with all the lobbying that they do. It's every individual in this room, leaders within your own local provider of service. What can you do differently to reimagine home care? How can you use technology to enable you to be more efficient, to enable you to do things differently to how you do service now? Collaboration is key. We need to work together. Our membership of 350 organisations are predominantly providers of service, commissioners. There is the suppliers of technology, but we work really closely with UK governments, and we'd love to start working with you to reimagine what that model looks like. Designing and developing education. I've just explained briefly we have an education online training tool that we could work with the UKHCA to design training online for all your frontline officers. And then creating your offer. We'd be delighted to look at what that prevention agenda, that point of care in the home, what could that look like differently for you, but how could it link in to the overall offer of care? In understanding how that technology plays, that comes last, never first. Do not buy shiny bits of kit. You will see that you'll buy the shiny bits of kit, and if you don't integrate it into your service models, it will sit there as a bolt-on. So please, advice for somebody who's working in this field and for many years, do the service provision first. Understand where it will make a difference for that individual and their carers. And what's really important before you go into digital, are you ready? So I ask you this question: do you have the healthcare and well-being of your communities as a key aim? I know that answer is definitely yes. But do you have these in your digital solutions? Do you measure your impacts? Do you have a digital strategy? What does that look like? It all seems like scary at the moment, but we can support you to actually deliver some of that with the UKHCA and delivering the offer. So don't be frightened of it. Now next, that's the end of my presentation, but I wanted to bring something really real to this conference, because if it's about people, it's people like you and I. And I've got a short video of an individual called Annette. She was a home care person for many years, and then she got dementia. So I would just like to go into this now for 3 minutes and play the video.
Well, when I was 48, I had a slight stroke, and that was in 2001. In 2006 and 2007, I had another 2 slight strokes, and I noticed sort of after the last one that I couldn't remember names. I'd gone into Hanley Shopping Centre and I couldn't remember where I was, so that was quite frightening. So I think in about 2008 this was, I went to the doctors and he referred me on to the mental health team. I mean, the strokes you sort of coped with because of the physical part, you know, with them only being slight strokes, you could work that and get back to health, sort of. But I think when you get a diagnosis of dementia, it's not as easy, because I don't think mental health is really accepted in the same way as physical health is. So you feel alien to the world, you know, and you feel very foolish because you can't remember. So your confidence goes, so you withdraw and you stay in and you don't go through the door, because you don't want to see people who remember what you were like and to sort of judge you now. So when you get the messages to keep calm and do things this way and do something that way, and you know, it does help because it helps you to manage the condition. And the autographer, because it reinforces things that you do. I think it actually needs to grow, you know, and work on the fact that people can have no memory. And same as wearing that camera, if somebody comes to the door and you don't know who they are, there's photographic evidence of that person being there, because you find that people who have memory problems are very often taken advantage of and robbed, or, you know, so it's a good security thing as well. So, and if somebody is on their own, it's good for carers because they can see if they're eating properly, or, you know, just watch their everyday life. So I think it needs to be expanded, actually.
Thank you. Annette is one of millions out in the communities, and that is one of millions of types of technologies. It's just one way of delivering quality care that is meeting that person's needs. So shaping the care at home, I'd love to work with you in the future. Your chair said, let's move this forward. I'd love to make sure that we give you the tools to be able to do that and improve the quality of life for all of your individuals that you serve. So thank you for inviting me this morning, and I'll be around all day. Thank you.